Hello, folks, and welcome. Love to Fly Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I thought I'd do a video for those who don't own or haven't owned recently a flight simulator to give them an idea of exactly what it can do. Most videos out there are for people who own it or who understand really well what it can do, and they get into the finite minutia of setting it up, flying planes, stuff like that. But what if you have no idea what Flight Simulator can do for you? You know it simulates flying, and you're seeing all these scenes on the screen, which is an opening video that plays. But what all can it do, and what are you in for if you purchase Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024? I'm going to assume you have an interest in airplanes. You may have an interest in helicopters or hot air balloons, and those are in here as well. But we'll go with airplanes. Fixed wing airplanes are my thing. But most of what I say would also relate to helicopters, hot air balloons, and all of that. So, by default, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, we're in the version 4 release now, which is, you'll hear a lot of people complain about, it wasn't good, it's getting better, it wasn't good. And it wasn't. At launch, it really wasn't. But that's kind of how they do things. Asobo and Microsoft were not perfect when they released it. However, I think now it's definitely good enough to be fun. Does it still have glitches? Once in a blue moon, but nothing that stops me from enjoying flying. So we'll go through this as if you're an absolute beginner that knows nothing about this, but you have an interest in flying and you're wondering, should I do this? You will find in mine as I go through that I do have add-ons. In a regular game, you'd call it DLC, right? Downloadable content. Um, Generally, we call them add-ons in Flight Sim. Don't ask me why, we're just different. Um, but I will try and point out when an add-on is what you're seeing or something like that. Most of what I'm saying will apply for just getting the flight simulator. There are multiple versions of it available, deluxe version, etc. That's entirely up to you. Most of the difference is you get more planes. That being said, you can get freeware planes out there for absolutely nothing, and some of them are very nice, and some of them are not so good. Um, you can get planes that you can purchase out there, and some of those are very nice and some of those are not so good. Do your research before you get them. But if you're looking to have a whole lot of different planes to fly, whether you like jumbo jets or whether you like fighter jets or World War II fighters or bombers or World War One airplanes, biplanes and Fokkers and Spads and all of that, you can get into any of that. General aviation aircraft, that's my specialty. For those who aren't pilots, general aviation is your Cessnas, your Pipers, your Cirrus, and your normal everyday aircraft that a person would fly for fun in general, or fly to take their family on a trip to Sedona or something. Um, that's my favorite, and single engines are my favorite. A lot like the plane you're seeing flying right now, towing the banner. Not quite like this one, but the Cirrus jet there is a little out of my price range, of course. And of course, you see they have helicopters. In this case, they're dusting the fields and rescuing people in this one. So, what can you do with Flight Sim and how does it work? What are you in for? Well, it's not as easy as most games. You're not just going to buy it and fly it quite that easy, but it's also not horrible. It's really not. If you enjoy flying, if you enjoy the thought of flying, whether you're a pilot in real life or whether you're just fascinated with flight, I think it's a great game. I think it's a great simulator, I should say, because I really don't call it a game. I don't play it like it's a game. I play it as though it's a simulator. There are career modes and stuff we'll get into that can be fun in that respect, almost like a game, but it's a simulator. Let's start by clicking on the start button here, getting into it. And you'll see that we have different options up here: World Photographer, Career, Challenge League, Activities, Free Flight, which is where I go 99% of the time, and Marketplace. And Marketplace is where you can find planes and not just planes, but also scenery for different airports, different regions of a country, or the Caribbean, or the Polynesian Islands. There's scenery for that. And let's talk about that for a second, because as a brand new beginner, where can you fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator? And does it matter which version of it you buy? And the answer to that is it makes no difference what version you buy. Let's go into Free Flight and let me show you for a second. You can fly any place on this beautiful globe we call the Earth. If you want to fly somewhere in Africa, here's an airport right here. A little airstrip. It's not a very big airport, apparently. Let's see. Looks like a little dirt airstrip. We'll let it come in detail. Any airport that you know of anywhere in the world, you're going to find in here. There's very few exceptions to that. So, I mean, look at these are all airports we're seeing here. All these little circles. You can fly out of big hub airports. Cape Town probably has a fairly big Cape Town International. It's an international airport. There we go. For your big jumbo jets and all of that. There's the little terminal stuff. And bear with me, I know nothing about jumbo jets or jetways, terminals, and all of that. But as you can see, you can fly out of international airports. You can fly out of tiny airports. You'll be able to fly out of these airports. But more than that, let's go over to one of my favorites real quick, and we'll talk about what else you can do. Because obviously you can fly out of airports. It's a flight simulator. But let's go to Sedona, Arizona here. And let's go to one of my favorite places in Sedona. Let it draw in. It takes a moment. You click where you want to go, set as departure, and let's say on ground shutdown. Now I'm flying right now an aftermarket plane, this Booker Youngman. But let's pick one of the more standard planes, shall we? And by the way, here's where you have helicopter, glider, lighter than air, other. I'm just going to go to airplane, and I'm going to pick a standard airplane, the Cessna Skyhawk Basic. And you can configure those with slightly different interiors, different panels for your instrument panels, skydiving ones, etc., etc. We'll just go with the standard here. You can choose a livery. Some say livery. You got all different colors to choose from. But we'll go with this black and white one here. And we'll just go save and back. I've already picked this spot. If you notice, it tells you the wind is 11 knots at 040 degrees. Some information here, you know, less than 9 nautical miles visibility. But let's just get into flying. Right now it's nighttime, so let's bring it up to noon. And let's go into flight conditions. And I am going to take and do a preset. These presets that I have here on the right are an add-on. Generally you have, I'll say 6 or 7 or 10 presets. I have, I don't know, 150 or so, but let's just go calm wind, which is a nice sunny day, right? And this is, oops, almost dragged you too quick here. This is our spot that we're going to fly. We're going to hit start flight. And it's going to zoom us in. And it's going to give you this little preview, and you can click ready to fly when you're ready. By the way, this avatar person that you see next to the airplane, you can choose different avatars, male, female, different colors, different hairstyles, clothing. You don't have a ton of selection, but you've got what you need. So here I am as that avatar, and I can walk around my plane. I can look at it. I can even reach up and grab the aileron here and move it like I would do in a pre-flight to verify that it's in good shape and looking good. I can come back here to the tail, and let's walk up to the tail here. I can grab the elevator, check it. I can grab the rudder eventually if I turn right. Usually I can grab the rudder. That's not a good sign, huh? I don't do the rudder much in this plane. I'm usually just doing a general pre-flight. You can get as in depth of a pre-flight as you want. Get ducks to go under the wing. As you can see, we've got some coverings and stuff on here to protect the engine while it's sitting. You can take those off. Got a pitot tube cover right here that you can remove. And you've got a cover over the static port. You also have, let's go down and look at these chocks we can remove. So as you see, you can interact with the world a bit, and you can even walk around, you can even run. This is as fast as you can run. And you can interact with most things to some minor extent. Again, that's not the point of this whole thing, but you've got stairs, ladders, etc. Usually it lets me climb up this, but the new update has stopped me from climbing up these stairs. Interestingly enough, I can only step on the first step of them now. You can set airport traffic to have static and or moving people running around with their vehicles at the airport. This girl here is just kind of standing waiting for something. Let's get in front of her, and you'll notice the graphic details on the people are not the greatest of any game you've seen. It's really not the point of it. The point is the flying, but just so you know, you can interact a little bit with the world. Not a whole lot of interaction, but you can look around mostly. This pavement looks worse now. It used to look better. I know they did this patching on it, but it used to look much more realistic. Let's go look at the grass over here just to give you an idea. Oh, nice twin engine plane over here, huh? Now you can't just hop into this twin and fly it because you'd have to go select it. I've selected the plane I can fly. I can't fly just anything. As we get up here to the grass, you'll notice it looks relatively good. I mean, again, it's not picture perfect. And I have calm day with almost no wind, so it's not moving. But normally, if there was a little wind, you'd see it going back and forth. You can see that sometimes a tree or something spawns a little bit through an awning or through part of a house. Most of these poles and stuff look relatively good. There goes a vehicle driving by. Excuse me. However, what is interesting in Flight Sim is that not only is every airport that you can think of in the Flight Sim, but they're accurate to the extent that their elevation is correct, their runway length is correct, their surface type usually, most of the time, vast majority of the time, is correct. The taxiways are there and correct. These mountains you see in the background are actually the mountains at Sedona. And they actually do look like that. And there's more mountains off the other way that we can't see as well back here. Um, Trees, you may not have every tree exactly where it is, but you'll generally have the type of tree that's in that region, and the amount of trees should be somewhat correct. And there's discussion over whether they made the trees a little too tall, or certainly in some areas they are. But if you fly, for instance, in the desert, you're going to find that you have desert scenery, and if there's a road below you, there's a road in real life. If there are buildings below you, there's probably buildings in real life. They try to do their best to do that. However, not every building can look exactly like it does in real life. You're talking about the entire planet. So that's just not doable on that level, right? We get in the plane, and in this case, I had it sitting dark, cold and dark, as we call it. Here's my rudder pedals, right and left. Here's my brakes, pushing and releasing. Of course, they're staying down because I have parking brake on. There we go. You can get rid of the yoke out of your way because sometimes you need to. You'll obviously want to buy a joystick or yoke for yourself, and maybe throttles so that you can move these without having to reach up on the screen and try and do this sort of stuff. It's just not fun. Um, so when you get in a plane, if you want, you can have it all pre-set up for you and ready to go, or you can come in cold and dark like this and figure out whether you want to turn your beacon on, taxi lights, nav lights, strobes, fuel pump, whatever you need to do. Um, in this case, we'll go ahead and see if the fuel is set to both. Yep. But you could obviously come in here and change your fuel selection. Right? Fuel shut-off valve, if you pull that, your engine will not start because your fuel will be shut off. Everything is about as authentic as you can actually get it. And if we zoom out and we try and start the engine, the engine starts and you can hear the sound. If you happen to be outside, let's jump out. Unlike real life, you don't get hurt by walking into the propeller, but as you can tell, the engine makes a different sound from different angles. If I go further away, it'll get quieter. Let's go back in. These Garmin controls are booting up, but I'm just letting them do. I can put that yoke back. I don't. And when I move this on my joystick, it moves on the screen. So obviously we can take and turn off my parking brake. We can taxi this out. We can fly. We can take off, go somewhere. We're in Sedona right now. We could fly down to Phoenix or something. But you've seen what it looks like flying. You've probably seen some videos on that. But let's see what else can be done in flight sim, right? Hit escape, and we'll end flight. Goes back to above in our music. Let's escape back again. So in your free flight mode, you can choose to go anywhere you want. You can literally walk away from your airplane and just walk around, check out the world around you. You can let's go to free flight for a second. You can go to the Caribbean. Let's see. St. Bart's is pretty. You notice you're seeing it at night because the time is nighttime there. But there's St. Bart's. Again, you can just click somewhere and set as departure. and take off from there. You can click these dots and it'll start you right on the runway or right at each parking spot. I prefer to just click off of the dot somewhere and choose a spot of my own choosing. Set as departure, on ground, we'll just say ready for takeoff. And you can zoom right into it. There is really nice scenery at certain places. That's something I guess I need to point out is there are places with enhanced scenery. St. Bart's is one of those. Sedona that I was just at is one of those. And if you notice, let's say we're ready. We're just going to do a quick taxi. And this is not something that you would do in the real world. This would be silly to do, but we're just going to real fast taxi here. Oh, by the way, I guess I need to show you this. Hang on. You can look around while in your plane. Look right, look left. You can also be outside the plane. Look at that at St. Bart's. That is in your way when you're trying to land, and that's real to life. If you've never seen it, go online and watch planes landing at St. Bart's. They have to come in over that to get to this runway, and it's not a very long runway, so you come in over that, you build up speed by diving down over it. Let's put these flaps up, shall we? There we go. And next thing you know, you're flying too fast for your landing, and you end up floating a long ways down the runway and going into the water or having to go around. Going around is the smart thing to do. Going in the water is not good. But we'll look at the scenery up here. Oh, yep, occasionally something like an unmanned cart just drives by you. Not perfection in that respect. Now again, I'm taxiing faster than I should be. I wouldn't normally do this, but I want to get over here and just show you the scenery over here. We'll jump out with the engine running. What the heck? And let's put it in run mode. So there's a pet carrier and some luggage right there. A luggage cart, a few luggage carts, and they're all just kind of piled up in front of the doors, which isn't a very good look for St. Bart's here, but now you can't in most places, like it won't even let me go up to that door. In most places you can't go in a building, but there are places where you can go in, especially with the add-on scenery. But as you can see, there's good scenery, and this is really what St. Bart's looks like. That rock is really there. Again, that hill at the end is really there. So you can do these sort of things. And when you're looking for a place to fly out of, let's make it daytime again. It always changes the time back to real time. This little yellow star next to this airport tells me that it has enhanced scenery. Whether it came from Microsoft that way, Microsoft in Asobo, which it did, or whether I bought enhanced scenery for it. Here's another one that came with enhanced scenery, Princess Juliana here. Beautiful runway, nice long, that looks a lot nicer to land at. Oh, and this is the one where everybody stands at the beach because the planes come in right over your head when you're on the beach. So if you look around and go, for instance, to this airport, this is not enhanced scenery. So they had a system, I'll say AI, I don't know that it was, but that looked at the entire world, they knew, obviously you can find published data for the runways, the lengths, the surface type, the width of the runway, the exact compass heading. That's easy to come up with, but they had an app that looked at the world and saw from satellite views these trees, and it recognized, hey, these are trees, I will put trees in here. And what part of the world is this? Caribbean. Okay, I will put trees that make sense for the Caribbean in here. And it looked at these and said, oh, these must be gravel roads. And it looked at these and said, these are houses. Do they look exactly like the houses in the real world? No. But at least if there is a house here, there's a house. If I go to, your hometown, you'll see that there's a house where your house is. It may not look like your house, but it's a representation of it, right? Some of these other planes you're seeing, for instance, are other people online right now flying. And some of these planes, the white ones, not the green ones, but the white ones, are planes that are flying in real world, um, different airlines and stuff like that. Right here, Key West, oh, aircraft carrier. That's an add-on I have. And there's an aircraft carrier moving right here. And if I wanted to take off from it, I could. It is an add-on. It is not part of the standard Microsoft Asobo scenery. But for, $25, $30, you can get an add-on like that, if that's something you care to do. And by the way, that add-on, you can actually catapult launch from the aircraft carrier and do stuff like that. I see there's an online player right now, right here. And if I were to zoom into this spot and actually start flight, I would see his airplane. He may not even be at his computer, but his airplane's sitting there. That's Key West area. As you look, you'll see there's a decent amount of airports that are the upgraded scenery, which is much more like real life. Tampa, Orlando. It's going to be Metter Municipal, Macon County, Georgia, Jackson, DeKalb Peachtree. Elizabethtown Municipal, not sure why, but somebody thought it was important. There's someone right here flying around. You can see they're moving. So this is what I do the most, is find airports I like. I fly to and from them. Since I'm in the Phoenix area, I'm usually flying out of Glendale Municipal right here. And true to life, they're digging up the dirt on the west side of Glendale. And true to life, if you go very far from Glendale, you're at Luke Air Force Base, which in real life you do not want to land at unless you're an Air Force pilot. South of that, we'll find Goodyear right here. And if you go south of that, just like in real life, you're going to find more airports down here. Gila Bend, which I fly out of both in the sim and in real life as well. Fly into and out of. I don't have the plane hangared there, but and here's an American Airlines Flight 7 heading, I don't know, San Diego maybe? For all I know, it's heading to Hawaii. I have no way of knowing. But this is generally like a real satellite view of the Earth, and generally wherever there's a field, whatever crop is here, they tried to make a correct crop. Whether they got it right or not is a whole nother matter. These are planes coming in probably to Sky Harbor, or in this case, Phoenix Goodyear. That's a training plane, and that's a regular plane, just a general aviation as well. This is VAR. I think that's the one of the German planes out of Goodyear. They have a flight school there for KLM or one of the airlines out of Germany. Not KLM, they're Dutch. But anyways, you get my point. You can see what's there. Here's the green ones are flight simmers flying right now. It is available on PC and Xbox, since Xbox is in his name, I forgot to mention. It also is available on PlayStation 5, but you can't fly with others from PlayStation 5 to over to computer or Xbox, you would have to fly with someone who's on PlayStation 5 as well. And you can see all these people who are actually flying right now on the sim. This person may just be, oop, he just zipped away. That happens. There he is, moving along. And when you see them, it'll look like they're plane. However, it is important to note, if you're flying in, for instance, I've got this Cessna Skyhawk up here, everybody will see me in my Skyhawk. If I switch to a plane that I've bought aftermarket that they don't own, like this Mooney here from Coronado, if they don't own that same Mooney, they're not going to see me in a Mooney. They're going to see me in a Cessna or a Piper or whatever is a default plane for the sim, because it just makes a best guess at the plane, and if they don't have that plane on their computer, it can't draw that plane. But if we both had this Mooney, we could both see each other in this Mooney. Yes, I've got a car in there. I needed something to drive around when I was driving around towns, checking them out. Flight Sim comes with a lot of different planes. The Vision Jet here is one of them. However, this B-24 Liberator is not. And yes, the cockpit, let's save and back, and we'll just go to, oh, not Furnace Creek, that's way too short. Let's go to Barstow. There we go. And I'll just put us on a taxiway area. On ground, ready for takeoff. Let's make sure the time is daylight. Just want you to see, this is a freeware airplane, this B-24 Liberator. And it is not bad. It is really well done. Interior. Throttles. Mixture. Charger, I don't have landed anything, but you could, look up something. There's a trim wheel right here I can turn. Rudder pedals, brakes. This also has the option of opening the bomb bay. We have a waste gunner, which if I go outside the plane, bomb bays right here with the bombs. If I go back inside, close the bomb bays, it goes up. Just like a real one. Now the waste gunner takes this position up on both sides. Props will come to a stop. And same on the other side. Yep. So let's escape. End flight. Just trying to give you a quick rundown of what all Flight Simulator can do for you. There's also World Photographer mode. I have never used it, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But it'll make you fly to a place and take pictures, and you can pull up a camera. You can set your, focus and exposure and do different things. You can go to the pyramids, or famous monuments. You know, and there's a whole list of things here that you can get pictures of. Wildlife, and there are animals and birds, well, animals moving around. I have an add-on that adds birds as well, so I'll fly past birds occasionally. Challenge League has challenges you can do. Rally race through the Grand Canyon, Blue Ridge Mountains. These are just challenges of the week. And I've never done it. I don't do that. Right now, there's activities, Stranger Things that's just launched with the update 5. Red Bull Air Racing you can do. You can watch people online do that. It's pretty neat. Flight training. They have full flight training where it'll take you through how to take off, how to taxi, how to land, how to follow, you know, a VOR, stuff like that. You can see the different challenges here, and obviously helicopters are not excluded from challenges. Air racing, National Championship air races, and this will show up as locked because it's coming soon. Discovery, this is Bora Bora here, I can tell by the picture. And custom content, which you can find different things. For instance, Navigraph Academy, which is an add-on, but it has introduction, effects of the control. This is literally can take you all the way through learning how to fly in flight sim. Stalls, slow flight, etc. Phase 2 and so on. Rescue challenges there. Let's go back. Free flight we've already been in. And then marketplace. Oh, I didn't mention career. Career mode, which I've flown a couple of times, is more like playing a game in some ways, so it's kind of interesting for those who aren't just into what I call the boring simming, which is what I love to do, but I know for most people it'll be boring. I get in a plane, I act like it's real, I turn on the proper systems, there's my progress in the in there. I can buy airplanes. I can right now I can't own a company. I haven't flown enough, but I can fly missions. I'm a Class C level 14 pilot. It just kind of goes through, and that's me sitting at, this isn't even like my desk. This is supposed to be a desk somebody gave me to work at. But yeah, I've got 4 past certifications, 5 unlocked specializations. You can look at the specialization: first flight, ferry flight, flight seeing, skydive, cargo transport, and then later I can get into aerial advertising and charter, all the way up to heavy cargo transport, super heavy, and all that. And you just got to fly different planes to keep earning that ability, that next level. Marketplace is where you can buy planes, but it's not the only place. You can go online to a website and buy a plane, download it, and there's a directory you'll load it into. It's beyond the scope of this video to talk about that, because it's not complex. Once you're used to it, it's easy, but it takes a little to understand it. In the marketplace, I can go to aircraft, airports, world. So if I look at world, for instance, here's a campout utility. When you land your bush plane at a remote place, you can make it pop out a tent and chairs and a little campfire and all of that, which is kind of cool. That's by Parallel 42. They make really good stuff. Landmarks of Germany library, Philippines tropical adventure, power lines to make the power lines look better and more accurate, which is true. They don't look quite accurate. The Stranger Things add-on, which is free. And when you buy something here, you can literally click on it and it'll tell you how much it costs. In this case, it says free. But you'd either pay for it with straight money, or up here at the upper right, you can see where it says wallet. You can buy coins for your wallet. $19.99 for 80, $39.99 for 160, and so on. And then each item that you want is a certain number of coins. And if you want it. In this case, it's free. It doesn't list the number of coins, but with any others, you would see the number of coins they're going to cost. Like this one's 76 coins for the landmarks of New York. Seattle landmark 72. And all those do is they just add to the already existing scenery for Seattle or New York or whatever and make it a little better in ways, because the flight sim had to do the entire world. They couldn't get all the buildings exactly right. Excuse me. So some people have come up with better buildings. And you can actually, when you have the flight sim, you can design scenery if you want to. It's a little complex and in depth, but you can do that, and it will, allow you to do better scenery for, say, your hometown airport. If you fly out of a little airport in the middle of nowhere, you can make the scenery for that airport. You can put buildings right where the buildings really are. You can put the the gas pumps right where they really are. You can uh, make the runway have the correct type of striping on it or something. Maybe it wasn't accurate in the sim. Um, Again, the runway length, width, and compass heading is probably already correct. The buildings are a rough guess of what's around there. You can fix that. If there's a ugly green building off to the left of the runway at your home airport, you can put an ugly green building there. So you can kind of do what you want. Like this Japan Osaka City. Um, it obviously wasn't this well done in the simulator, but there's an add-on to make it that way. If this is a town you're going to fly in and out of a lot, you might want to pay $17.99 or 72 coins and get it. And again, you can go online to websites as well and get that. Let's go and look at airplanes. If you don't like the planes that came with the sim or you want something different, here's where you can find them. I'll go into planes instead of helicopters and stuff. And you can sort by, for instance, price low to high or whatever, or highest rating. Let's look at the ones with the highest ratings. You want a tiger moth? Right here. There's a tiger moth for you. You want a J3 Cub? I actually own this one. It normally will tell me that I own it, but I didn't buy it through the marketplace. I bought it from a website, so it doesn't know. The Aerostar from A2A, which I don't have it, but I hear it is incredibly well done. It's $49.99. It better be, right? But it is. It's incredibly well done. And you can come in and look at the details of it. It also does give it a rating. In this case, it's got 4.8 out of 5 stars. Well-deserved 4.8 stars, I'm certain, because it is really well done. A2A does a beautiful job with their stuff. They're very, very accurate. The speed this plane flies at, the speed it rotates at, the way it climbs is all accurate to the real world plane. It doesn't have anything on it that the real world plane wouldn't have. Here it is looking out the window on a rainy day. Picture of it in flight. Your little tablet. I can't tell. Yeah, that is a full tablet on your yoke there. The instruments that are in it. And usually when you buy a plane, it'll come with multiple instrument sets where you can have more modern instruments or not. Just like in real life with an airplane, you may buy, and put in new instruments or still keep the original old ones or whatever. Most of these, especially the good ones, the doors open and stuff. This has a little generator there. Notice it's dirty underneath like it would be. The wheels have a little bit of mud on them. Oh yeah, a lot of mud on that right wheel because he's been landing on a grass strip. This plane was a favorite of drug runners, so because it was fast. It was a good plane. Still is. They just don't make them new anymore. But Um, Again, you can buy, if you want to fly a Cessna 310, there's a 310R version, or World War II, a Hellcat, or a Wildcat. Um, I own the Wildcat, but it doesn't show it because I bought it from a site. If I bought it through the marketplace, it'll be at the very bottom of this list. See all these that say owned? These are ones I've purchased through the marketplace, and it knows I own them. So you won't accidentally buy one you already own, right? See, all of these. Generally speaking, you can find planes from as low as $4.99 up to $8.99, and you can get all the way up into about $69, I think, up near the very end. Let's see. 69, yeah, 69, $84. Oh, now I'm into my own planes. 84 for the AnyBuilds A350. They do incredible work, so it's probably worth $84. But a little bit of everything, right? Obviously, helicopters, same situation. I own very few of these because I don't fly helicopter. But if you do, here you go, right? Gliders, same thing. Far fewer of them. There's at least one that comes with the sim. Avionics, different avionics for your planes. And then other, which I don't know what all it puts in there. Oh, that's right. You do have boats and vehicles and stuff. If you want to get around town when you land somewhere and explore a bit, you can get something like this Juice Goose. And let's get a better picture of it here. And it can crawl around places and do different things. It's not a driving simulator, it's a flight simulator, but if you want to drive around, like I sometimes do when I get to a place, I just want to explore a little bit, you can do that. So Flight Sim gives you more than just flying from point A to point B, and it gives you every airport you can imagine. Let's just go far north here. Lower Loon Creek is a really good airport. By the way, it knows that it's wintertime at the time I'm filming this, so there's snow. If I were to go in and set the flight conditions, if I were to take, instead of December, and say June, hit save and back, notice the snow's gone. Because in June, in Lower Loon Creek, there wouldn't be snow. So I can fly as if it's summertime. Or I can fly as though it's the middle of winter. Let's go to January and see what... Oh yeah, Loon Creek is covered in snow. It's not even a usable runway unless you have skis, because it's up in the snow line. You will find that it is pretty accurate in most ways. It's not perfect, no, but it's very accurate. You pretty much can't name a small airport. There's somebody flying around. Pretty much can't name a small airport or big airport that isn't in the sim. So if you want to fly out of your local airport, again, I live down near Phoenix, and we have Love Field up in Prescott. We have, Cottonwood Airport, and it's pretty accurate. All the radio frequencies are there, so when you're in your plane, you can tune the radio. And Microsoft includes a generic ATC that's really not very fun or very good. I have an add-on that does that for me much better. I have Say Intentions AI, which is a artificial intelligence air traffic control. It's much more accurate to real life, and they will give me a proper pattern, and they'll tell me, make left traffic for runway 27, and they'll tell me when I'm cleared to land, and they'll expect me to reply and repeat that I'm cleared to land, just like in real life. Air traffic control is not going to just let you land without you stating that you've been cleared to land. So it's very good, and that's an add-on. And yeah, add-ons are a thing, and they do end up costing a lot of money in the long run, but you can fly without them. Air traffic control is not going to be very, very good. You might use it a few times just to see what it does, but you're probably not going to enjoy it a lot, especially if you're a pilot in the real world. But you can get add-ons for that. Some of these airports you see here, like Blythe and Jackie Cochran Regional, Gillespie Field and all that, I've bought these or got them for free as add-ons because I wanted them to be as realistic as possible. So for instance, I know if I take off on runway 8 here and I come down after takeoff, right here are big towers that put out a lot of smoke and steam, and it creates an updraft right there, and it's right near the end of the runway. And these towers are not tall enough to really be a problem in the way, but the steam that they put out actually creates a little thermal lift there. And this airport is accurate to what it really looks like. And it was a free add-on. It didn't cost me any money for that particular one. So there are good free ones. You just have to kind of research. Here's the Salton Sea. You can fly out to, Catalina Island, which is a better done one, and it actually has the building here that the pilots go into. Pilots Lounge and FBO are properly in here as they are in real life. And just like in real life, the pavement is not perfect on the runway. It's very much sections of cement. And the taxiway, although the taxiway is really nice and smooth, and in real life it's a little bumpier than that, but hope that gives you a good overview of what you can and can't do if you're thinking of buying Flight Simulator 2024. I love it. I am a proponent of it. Some people are not. But there's a lot of things you can do. There's add-ons for instance, Whitman Regional here, Oshkosh. Every year in real life, there's AirVenture Oshkosh, put on by the EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association. You can buy scenery where it looks like everybody's here at AirVenture, and you can even fly into what they call SimVenture, where real air traffic controllers will talk to you as you fly your flight sim into SimVenture, and it's the real controllers who do it during the Oshkosh AirVenture. It's kind of how they warm up for it by going on the sim and doing that, and it's a really cool thing, and it doesn't cost anything. And a lot of real pilots do that to practice before they actually fly their plane to Oshkosh. They practice it on the sim. So hope that gives you a little bit of information. I didn't get to really show you how good the water effects are, but they have come a long way. And when you can land float planes on water, you can land planes with skis on snow, and you can land off airport at little bush strips, or even make your own landing spot if you find a nice smooth area, like somewhere up here in the desert, if it's BLM land where it's legal, or even illegal. Since you're in a sim, you could land on this gravel road here. And all this scenery is accurate. This is the Grand Canyon here. And it's pretty darn accurate to real life. I mean, it's as good as they can get. They can't be perfect when you've modeled the entire world, but they're very accurate. If you want to know what it would look like landing at a certain airport, go give it a try in sim. and then watch a video of somebody doing it in real life, and I think you'll notice it's pretty darn similar. So, I mean, you can't think of a place that isn't modeled in here, and relatively accurately. Let's put daytime on here. If you go down to the Caribbean, or better yet, if you go to South America, you'll find banana trees and stuff. If you go to the Nazca, where the Nazca lines are in Peru, you will find that the Nazca lines are there and all of that. So it's a pretty good, accurate sim for that. Again, you can walk around, you can do your pre-flight inspection on the plane, you can be as detailed as you want, or you can just tell it you want to start with the plane engine already running and set up for takeoff. You can just goof around. A little bit of everything. I like it. Really can't complain. I hope that gives you a good intro into it and gives you some idea of it, whether you like it, whether you're going to like it or not, whether it's worth it for you. Many more videos to come with more in-depth, detailed analysis of things, but for now, just know you have to have a pretty decent computer. It can't be really low end. A good graphics card and a decent computer, or Xbox or PlayStation 5. Just remember, with PlayStation 5, you're not going to be able to fly with friends who are flying Xbox or PC. And that brings up another point. Since you notice you've got traffic, if you fly with a friend, you can, if you do something like I like to do with Say Intentions, Say Intentions AI lets you talk on the radio to your friend. You push a button just like you would in the plane, push the talk button, and you can not only talk to air traffic control, but you can talk to anyone else who's on that same frequency in that rough area that you're in. Again, it's just like real radio. You can't talk to someone who's 500 miles away. When you're on an aircraft radio, you're only going to get people within 30 miles or so of you. And same is true. So you and your friend might come up with a frequency 118.95 or something. If you both get on 118.95, you can talk to each other just by pushing the button and saying, hello, how are you? And it's going to take 3 or 4 seconds for them to hear you, and then they have to reply, so another 3 or 4 seconds before you hear them back. A good frequency for that is what they call fingers, 123.45. I hope that helps. But yeah, you can fly with friends. You can, if you look on my channel, I've got where I'm formation flying with my brother at one point. You can do that. You can make it your own. Have fun. Explore the world. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a lot more content and a lot more information about Flight Sim 2024, because that's all we do here. And we specialize in general aviation, fixed wing aircraft, usually single engine, sometimes multi-engine. Not a lot beyond that, only because it's just not my specialty. Thanks. Have a great day.